Happy Sunday, guys! It is Shutdown today, and we miss you guys so much. And we can't wait till we see you next week. You are stuck with the amazing Miss Hannah today and the wonderful
Miss Natalie.
Yes, we are so happy to be with you guys today, and we have a really cool lesson to teach you guys today. We have a few questions for Miss Natalie. Natalie, are you so happy to be back at school? Tell the truth. Come on.
Not really.
You can't think of one thing about being back at school?
Well, maybe the friends. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Seeing your friends at school again.
And you said lunchtime earlier. That's like your favorite
Lunchtime
time,
is the
isn't
best.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. Some schools do have really good lunches. Some don't. You get a good lunch every day because you pack your lunch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. When I was in school, I had to eat school lunches. My mom wouldn't let me pack my lunch. Alright, so we are talking about back to school things.
Okay.
Can you think of one other thing that you love about school? You have some pretty cool teachers.
Oh,
right?
yeah, my teachers. Especially like my favorite ones, but you know.
Okay, name one teacher. Who's your favorite?
Miss Bromley.
Of course, your drama teacher.
Yes.
Alright, we kicked off a series a few weeks ago called What's in Your Backpack? Speaking of backpacks, Nat, why do you have your backpack on?
I just wanted it on. I liked it.
Just needed to carry it?
Yep.
Well, since you have it, let's see if you have any of some of the school supplies we've been talking about.
Okay.
So, week 1, we talked about, what was it?
Pencil?
Pencils, that's right. Do you have a pencil?
Let me see. Somewhere in here.
Yeah, you got kind of a lot of stuff in there, Natalie.
Bet there's one in here.
Go figure, it's yellow.
My lucky pencil.
Yes, there you go. What do you use your pencil for?
To take notes.
And to remember what your teacher said.
Yeah.
Right? So week 1 we talked about remembering things and how we should take notes and how we wish we could kind of take notes sometimes when our friends are talking to help us focus on them. So do you remember what our big idea was that week?
Oh my goodness. You might have to help me remember.
Listen.
Listen.
Like a good friend.
There we go.
Just you were listening, Miss Natalie. Yes, so we talked about listening like a good friend. How it's important to listen to our friends when they talk and not just have our earbuds in playing music. All right, then let's see. Do you remember what we talked about week 2?
Let me think.
You have one in your backpack that looked kind of cool when you showed me earlier.
Oh, a notebook?
Yes, notebook.
Okay.
Okay, what do you use your notebook for?
No.
Okay, so it looks like you have some notes written down in it. Does it help you remember things?
Yes.
Right? And we talked about how we need to remember to be unselfish, right?
Yes.
Yes, we talked about putting others first that week. And we talked about how notebooks help us remember what's important. And an important thing to remember, especially when you're around your friends and stuff, is to put others first. Even maybe sometimes if your teacher needs some help, jumping up and to help her without her asking, that would be a great one. What about, do you have a certain thing in your backpack that's your other thing that's your favorite color? Maybe.
Oh, my yellow folder.
Yes, your folder. Okay, so what do your teachers usually use your folders for?
Usually to take home stuff to work on.
Or to put papers in that you've already done, right? So you can show your parents what you've accomplished, right? And we talked about how just like you get so excited to have your take-home folder so you can show your parents things you've done at school, we should be excited to share what God has done in our lives with others, right? We should talk about some really cool things like maybe Bible stories that we learned in Epic Kids.
Yes.
Right? Or maybe how He helped us sometimes when we're worried or scared.
Yeah.
Or we can share how God helped other people in our life too, in our family sometimes. Okay, so we've been talking about school supplies in our What's in Your Backpack series, and we've talked about a couple already, and we have another kind of sort of one we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, Nat, what else do you have in your backpack? You've only been in school for like a week and a half, and there's like a ton of stuff in your backpack.
I just have a lot of random stuff, I guess.
Like what?
I have a bunch of books.
Natalie, you have like 5 library books here. You don't even really like reading that much. Why do you have that many books in here?
I don't know.
So I think you actually have, yeah, you do. You have 5 books in here. Why is...
I don't know.
Do you just like to keep books because, like, hoping maybe someday you'll actually, like, read them all?
Yeah, but we know that's never gonna happen.
Hey, dreams can come true sometimes, okay?
Maybe.
I like to read. I hope someday you'll figure that out. What else do you have in your backpack? Because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Oh, I have this big old binder.
Nat, these papers are from last year. Why do you still have these in there?
They're good memories.
But do you really need to have them in your backpack anymore?
I guess not.
No? Okay. You know what? You actually reminded me of what we're going to talk about today.
Oh,
Natalie, is there ever a time where you're worried or scared?
Yes.
What is something that makes you a little worried or nervous sometimes?
Failing a test is a big one.
Yeah.
Also, I'm worried about like what my friends will think of me, you know.
Ooh, getting embarrassed in front of your friends.
Yeah.
Yes. That is a big one that I think everybody has, especially now that you're back at school too.
Oh, yeah.
Because like if your teacher calls on you, you don't know the answer. Oh, that was always
That's
a big
the
one.
worst.
Something that worries me sometimes is if a family member gets sick or gets hurt. That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
Or, okay, this is a big one that I tell you guys sometimes. I'm okay when I'm talking in front of epic kids. You guys, I love talking in front of. Put me in a room full of adults. That I have to do. I don't do adults. I get so nervous and tongue-tied. But, so, you're carrying around a lot of things you don't actually need anymore. And sometimes that's what it's like when we have worries and things. We are not meant to carry those around with us. God tells us that we should give those to Him so He can carry them. So let's try this. Hold on a second. I'm going to put your books, random library books, back in here. Okay, and I'm going to put your binder with papers from last year in it.
They're good memories.
But you don't need to be carrying them around anymore because you're not really going to be using them anymore. Okay, let's put your backpack back on.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. Can you really walk around that easy with it on?
Not really.
No, you can't chase your friends up and down the hall. Even though you
No.
probably shouldn't be running down the hall. Right?
Yeah.
It's hard to move and walk around.
Yeah.
Okay, but now take it off and give it to me. Okay. How does it feel now?
Feels so much lighter. I feel like I could run,
Yes.
jump.
So you gave it to me because you know I am just a little bit older, right?
Yeah.
Okay, no old jokes, please.
Okay.
I'm a little older, I'm stronger, a little,
Yes.
okay? I can carry it and it doesn't bother me, but it was really heavy on you. That is what it's like when we have our worries sometimes and when we get anxious. You guys just started a brand new school year and sometimes there is things at school that makes us nervous or anxious or worried. But we are not meant to carry those around. God tells us that we should give our worries to Him. Which in fact is our big idea for today, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Our big idea today is give your worries to God. So just like Natalie gave me her backpack to carry because I'm stronger, it doesn't bother me as much as it would her. But another thing that God wants us to know is that I'm going to take your backpack and I'm going to take out, if I can open the right pocket. Okay.
There's so many pockets.
Yes. I'm going to take out the library books that you don't need.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to take out the binder you don't need, because you don't need your papers from last year anymore, Natalie. Okay. Alright. Then, so the only thing you have in here are school supplies you actually are going to need and use, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now how does that feel?
It feels so much lighter. I like it a
You
lot.
only have what you need in there, which is like listening like a good friend,
Yes.
putting others first, and sharing what God has done, right?
Yes.
And then today is give your worries to God. Jesus even gave us an example in the Bible. He did something with his disciples to help them learn this lesson. We've talked about this story before in the Bible, and it comes from Mark chapter 4. It's when Jesus calms the storm. Jesus was traveling across the Sea of Galilee with his disciples when this big storm came out of nowhere. There was wind blowing and rain coming, and it was just crazy. And his disciples, they were fishermen, remember? Like they spent a lot of time on the Sea of Galilee. But this storm was so bad that it scared them. They were nervous. They were worried. They were so worried that they thought they were about to die. But when they were looking around the boat trying to find Jesus, guess what he was doing? Do you remember?
Oh, was he sleeping?
He was.
Oh my
He was taking a nap in the boat. Like, that's how unbothered he was. But the disciples, they woke Jesus up. And they were like, Jesus, how are you sleeping through this right now? Like, we're about to die. Jesus stood up, and he didn't say anything to his disciples. He just stood up and he spoke to the storm and he said, be still. And it did. Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Wow, that's
the
awesome.
winds died down, the rain stopped, it obeyed him. Then Jesus turned around to his disciples and he said, why were you afraid? I was right here. That's what it's like when we give our worries to God. He's right there with us. There is no reason we should be worried. Now, we all know, sometimes it happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're all human. We make mistakes, of course. Even Miss Natalie, even though as cute, adorable, and perfect as she is, yes, we all make mistakes, and sometimes we do get a little worried or scared. It happens. But God wants us to remember that we can give our worries to Him, and He will help us and give us strength. Even our verse to remember does remind us of something awesome that can happen when we do this. Do you remember what our verse to remember is?
Let me see. I think I do. Okay.
Miss Natalie has actions for us today to help us remember our verse to remember too. Because I can't keep all these words straight because it's a long one this time. Okay, do you remember?
Okay. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
I like how you did the dramatics.
You gotta do the dramatic in heaven.
Yes, and it's found in Matthew 5:16.
There we
Good
go.
job.
Yeah.
Alright, let's try this one more time. Our verse to remember comes from Matthew 5:16. And it says, I know, I told you, I mix these numbers up all the time. That's why I normally don't do them. Okay? Alright, so Matthew 5:16, it says, what are the actions?
In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven.
In heaven, you can't forget that. In heaven.
Yeah, I almost forgot. You
and your dramatics, yes, in heaven. So, in our verse, remember that first part that says, let your light shine before others. What does that kind of mean, do you think? I know, the word's kind of tricky, but I think it means, well, I don't think, I know. It's another way of setting an example.
Oh, yeah, okay, I see that, yeah.
Don't normally, when you're school, tell you, don't forget, set a good example today. Yes, right? We're supposed to set an example for our friends, to be kind, be loving.
Yes.
But another way that we can set an example for our friends is by not worrying or being scared and remembering that God is with us. Because then in the last part of our verse to remember, it says that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Which means, let's say you're at school and you've got a big test that day and you know you studied for it, okay? So you did what you were supposed to.
Yes.
Even though you might be a little nervous, you also know that God's with you and He'll help you remember what you studied. Okay, so you have that. Well, all your friends around you are nervous about the test, and they're like, hey, Natalie, why aren't you nervous? What could you tell them in that moment?
God's with me, so why do I need to be nervous?
And you studied, right?
And I studied.
So He'll help you remember, okay? That's what that means. We can let our light shine and that they may see our good deeds. They'll see the example we're setting, and then that'll give us a chance to tell them about Jesus, right? We've been talking about that a lot in this series, about how we can set an example and tell others about Jesus through what we do, our actions, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our big idea today is give your worries to God. What do you think are some actions for that one?
Maybe like give. Like you're giving it.
What if we did like worries, like you're scared?
Yeah, worries.
To God?
To God.
Keep it simple. Alright, you ready? Give your worries to God. Okay, Epic Kids, so that's what we're going to talk about today. Give your worries to God. We know, back to school, a lot of new faces in your room, new teachers. Sometimes there could be big tests that you're scared of or different changes that make you nervous. But we don't have to carry that around with us like papers from last year, right? We can give our worries to God, and He will always be right there with us to give us the strength that we need to get through anything, because that's how much He loves us.
Yeah.
See? Yeah. Okay. Alright, Epic Kids, we missed you guys today, and we hope you had a great week, and we can't wait to see you next week, right? Because we're going to do another week of, what's our series called?
What's in your backpack?
There we go.
Oh
What's in your backpack? Yes. We're going to do another week, and we can't wait to see you guys. We hope you have a great week, and that you stay safe. We'll see you next week.
Bye.